Hi, this is Composting 101 to help people learn how to compost the easiest way possible without having any stress and trying to make it so that it's really the lazy man's or person's way of composting. So what I'm going to show you is this compost bin fell over, and this is quite amazing soil, and you can see with the amount of soil that how black it is. So this fell over in a storm, and it's been here about 6 months, and there is numerous worms. You can see the amount of worms. That's in newspaper that's still breaking down. So you can see the worms there, and they're all. So what we're going to do is going to move the compost bin. So this soil is created in 3 to 6 months, and you can actually do it faster. I haven't moved this. Alright. So you can see the soil. Now this has been created from all our food scraps. This is newspaper, pizza boxes, like normal cardboard boxes, and this is the soil that you can put on your garden and put in your pots. It's quite amazing what it can turn to. So I'm going to have to pick this compost bin up because of it's fallen on my garden, as you can see. Some things take longer to break down. There's eggshells. Let's see, there's an eggshell. So eggshells can take 6 to 8 months to break down, and if you don't want to put eggshells in, don't, but they'll break down eventually. They take obviously longer than 6 months. So down the bottom here I've got a few eggshells. Personally, I don't care if they're there, it doesn't matter at all. So there's some straw that's from the guinea pig and the rabbit cage, and that's still breaking down. That will not create grass though. Grass will not grow from that. Okay, so I've got to go and try and get this. Oh my gosh. So what we've done is we've taken the compost bin off the compost bin that fell over, and we're actually going to, and you can see this stuff hasn't broken down. So the next objective is to have that free, and then you're going to place it where you want it. So I'm going to put it here. Let's see. Yep, just here. And I'm going to put newspaper on the bottom. Just open it out. Throw it down. Literally, the thicker the better to create a bottom. Because what this does is creates, when the water goes down through the bin, it creates a damp environment, and the worms come up through the ground to go and then break down all the compost inside. Always put a cardboard box if you've got one. So here's the box. Take the plastic off, the sticky tape, that doesn't break down. So that's no good. And then, so all the plastic, you don't want any plastic. Okay, so that's rubbish. And I'll just, there we go. So that box has to be down through on the bottom. Okay, so now we're ready to go. So this is the end result of all your hard work. There's the rabbit as well. To actually get this fabulous product for your garden, which they call liquid gold or all sorts of things. Now what I'm going to do with this is is we're going to get it in layers if we can. Now this is grass, because this hasn't broken down. Oops. There we go. Let's see. Get this across. Okay. I'm going to need to. I don't want it to get. Okay, I'm going to have to go from the other side. So this looks disgusting, clearly, and that's the bit that hasn't broken down. You can see some food scraps in there. There's a couple of mangoes that haven't broken down. Okay, so this just goes exactly back in. Now this has been going for 6 months and I haven't done anything to it. This is from the rabbit cage. You can see there's citrus in there. Doesn't really matter. So, then we're going to do a layer. Now this type of composting is all about layering. So, and then put another layer of newspaper to allow that to break down and attract the worms. There's the worms. Now the reason you're seeing newspaper is because the newspaper is the way that it comes from the kitchen, and I'll show you about that as well. Perfect. Okay, and I'm just going to get a pizza box. Pizza boxes are fantastic for your compost bin. The bottom of the box has got all the oil, and the oil's what the worms like. So it's all about layering. So we've got everything in there. So we chuck a couple of pizza boxes in. It's all fabulous stuff. So this looks like a plant, previously a plant that's died. Toilet roll, which is fine. All breaks down. So, they're the worms that are going back from which are, because they're not finished doing that level yet. So this hasn't broken down. This is all no good to us until it's broken down. So now to spread it out, got my pizza boxes, push it down, and that's all great stuff. Going to put another layer of newspaper on top of that to help all the future stuff that comes up. And any of the citrus stuff takes longer. We'll get that out and put that in as well. A couple of eggshells. Okay, so anything that hasn't broken down, you can put in. That's even some soil, it's beautiful soil. So you can see with the worms how fabulous it is. Obviously that's a bit of plastic, which shouldn't be in there, but it's covered in worms. And that's going in the rubbish bin. So, looks like there's a cork, and there is a cork. That's not going to break down, but let's see if there's anything else. You can put a little bit of compost back in it, and that helps it going again. Starts it off, but you don't have to. What the amazing thing about composting is, the soil comes from under the ground, whatever soil is below it, you actually, all the worms are drawn to the nitrogen and goodness, and then they all multiply within the bin. Okay, so the next thing to understand about composting, which is extraordinarily important, and that is about layering. Everything has to be layered. So we don't want it too wet and we don't want it too dry. So this is my container from my kitchen. This is how I do everything in the kitchen, and I'll show you properly how to do that. And so this is what's involved. So, and that's it in the kitchen. Then you can use grass clippings. You sweep the path and put layers, but you just put, whoops, there goes a rabbit. And then, so we've got that. Now we're going to grab some straw from the cage, and we're just going to put that in. If you don't have straw, use grass, but you must put a layer between it. Otherwise, the grass is going to get too hot and the worms won't like it. So we're all about layering. So, and then we've got another layer. Now you can have that as leaves, or you can have that as, grass clippings. Weeds, I'd be cautious of, because with the weeds, they can have seed pods, and then you're going to put weeds all through your garden, which you totally don't want. So you put another layer, and then we're ready to go. The idea is to have no bugs, and then the other thing is with your newspaper, you need to make sure it's not glossy newspaper. So all your junk mail that has all the different printing on it, the worms won't eat it. So it has to be black and white printing. So newsprint is perfect. So just collect your newsprint from whoever your office. I put a box at my office and said newspaper please, and because I don't buy the newspaper, and everybody put a box in. So that worked really well. So I have enough newspaper. So you're doing your layers like so. Okay, so you've got your layers happening. Every 2 weeks you can buy this thing, which is called a composter aerator. I personally bought it and discovered it does absolutely nothing, and it's very hard to use. I don't use it. I use this or a stick, whatever's easiest, and the idea is just to stick it down and push it all down like so, and just aerate it down. Make sure that you're actually pushing it to the sides of the bin, because what happens with compost is it actually shrinks inwards, and when it shrinks, then it's all working and breaking down. So you need to actually then push it to the sides, and then it comes through. My idea of composting is that you have no bugs, no flies. I don't have any mice or rats. I have nothing like that. I don't want to see a fly. Obviously it's a hot day and I've just moved the compost bin, so there are some flies now today, but normally there'd be nothing. You just take your lid off and throw everything in and chuck your lid back on. Now the sun is attracted to the black. There we go, I've just killed a worm. We want them, they're good. That's a bit of plastic. So the sun is actually attracted to the black and it makes it hotter and that all breaks down and works. If you've got a really dry compost, what you need to do is to grab a bucket of water and put it into the middle if you can, because that's what needs to be aerated, and you use your stick and break it up. If your compost bin is too wet and you've got bugs and it's gross, put some newspaper in, some cardboard, put anything dry. Go and get a wheelbarrow load of leaves. You're going to do some pruning, but it has to be small twigs. So if you see, I've put some twigs in here and they haven't fully broken down. So the twigs are going to take longer to break down. If you see that they are breaking down, there's some vines which are obviously from canna lilies. They're going to take a bit longer to break down. Okay, so what we need to do is show actually how we do it from the beginning of composting. Obviously I showed you before the end result and how to move a compost bin, but this is all about the container that you have in the kitchen, because we want it all to be really clean. And as you saw, we've got the container and we've got our newspaper in it. What goes in it in the kitchen is our next thing. So anything that's we don't eat, that we're actually putting in the compost bin, goes in here. So this is how it works. So here I've got some broccoli which has gone off, so no plastic, and that's in the rubbish. And then I've got a salad here which we didn't eat in time, and that's got carrots and cucumber, and so we just chuck that in there. So that's all going to get thrown out. This is all good food. And then we've got a dish of veggies which we didn't eat in time as well. So I'm going to put that in there, and that's going to go on in the dishwasher. But anything that we don't want and we're not going to eat, it goes in. All food. So I've the tissue here I finished off. I'll put that in there. And so this spring onion's gone a bit yuck. Clearly that goes in. Now, you can if you want to. I've got newspaper here. And if you don't want to look at that, which doesn't worry me, but some people don't want to look at it, grab a piece of newspaper and put it on top so you can't see it. I have newspaper sitting there, and I'm not going to cook right now, but basically all this type of stuff, which I don't want to use, goes straight into the compost bin. Then, so any veggies and fruit, I put every fruit in. And as you saw, got the newspaper. So here I've got a pumpkin, which we don't eat the ends. So that's all going in. So all the food that you don't want just go in like that. And then we put the lid on, and that just sits here in my kitchen ready to go with some newspaper underneath it. And there's no smell, there's no bugs, no flying things. And then depending on how much food you use, obviously it can just be taken out to the compost bin every day or every other day. But we need to remember, which is really important, that it's all about our layering. So we chuck that in to the compost bin, and then we can put some leaves on top. Just grab whatever's around that needs to be actually broken down to clean up a space. Do some sweeping, or you've got the grass clippings there, and throw it all in. I think that's pretty much everything. And if you've got any questions, please just ask. That'd be great. Thank you.